cheers and enjoy the beers. Yes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome along to once again with me a disco coming at you live from in front of the cans and bowls here on a bar at the Disco Arms, and my voice has suddenly decided that moment to go absolutely bollocksed up. But there you go. What can I do? The show must go on. Sorry for lateness once again. Always happens like that, doesn't it? Nothing ever goes right. But greetings to you all. Thanks for popping in. Henry popped in earlier. Good evening to you, Disco Brother. Cheers with a, oh dear, Hazy Jane. Fair play, whatever. He knows my love for those beers. He's non-existent. Mersey, thanks for popping in once again. Cheers. I hope you've had a good start to the week. It's a bit weird, throwing me out a little bit, doing 2 shows on the bounce, including one on a Sunday night. Feels like a Tuesday now. It's weird, but it's nice. Definitely a Monday night, isn't it? And I've got a few beers lined up for today's belated Mild in May show. I've done this last year. In fact, I done it twice last year in May. I done one at the beginning and one at the end of May. But in this year, I've managed to completely miss May altogether, and we're doing it in the 3rd of June instead. So let's go straight on and get some beer down my neck, because I think I need to soothe my throat. Beer number 1, please. Wasn't sure which order to do these in, so I've got 3 mild beers today. A beer style that I really should enjoy, but I'm never entirely sure, mainly because of the slightly lowerness on the ABVs. I'm also not too sure about doing 3 of the same kind of beers on the same show, although they have different kind of variances in them. So let's find out what we've got for these 3 different milds. And also 2 from Yorkshire, 1 from down in the West Country. Mr. Wilson, cheers for popping in. No bother at all. Didn't think I was that boring, but if you had a little snooze, no problem at all. This was one of the beers launched at Kirkstall exhibition of prize ales. Right, yeah, so yeah, it is not on the banner yet. So it is a collab between 2 excellent breweries. A favourite of mine, of course, Turning Point Brew, collab with London's 5 Points Brewery over in Hackney. And they're calling it an 1895 mild, a XXX heritage mild. We shall find out about that. Not sure about the glassware on this one. I think the dimple mug might not quite sit right. Maybe I'll save that for the bowl. Right, yeah, so 5.5%. Heritage miles. I believe I've used some heritage malts in this one. Pours out quite thin in the glass. It looks a bit Coca-Cola, but it comes out into the glass with plenty of life about it. Good head development. Lots of carbonation. You can just about see that racing up the glass like a absolute storm. With the light behind the glass anyway, there's a kind of really kind of light brown coppery colour and really quite fizzy in there, which kind of worries me for a mild. But as Mr. Wilson says, let's do the photo. Let's do the photo first. I got some reviews up on Instagram today, but it was last week's reviews, didn't do today's. Going to have somewhat of a backlog by doing 2 shows back to back, and maybe even a 3rd tomorrow. I'm not actually sure what I'm doing tomorrow. I'll worry about that in the morning. I've just got to get through this one first with this dodgy old voice. Sorry about that. Excellent can art as always from Turning Point with their new logo and kind of vaguely space kind of ish theme. In and out of focus there. There we go, we're on it. Yeah, so I'm always keen to do milds and have a look. 5.5%, that is kind of remarkably see-through for what I imagine a mild to be, especially with that carbonation going on. Shark, good evening to you. Welcome along. Good afternoon, even. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, so it was a dual brew. They did a joint one, did one down at 5 points as well. I kind of missed out on that one. I saw reference to it, then I didn't actually look too hard to get it. They didn't have any on the Turning Point website, which I thought was weird for a collab. Maybe they'd sold out already. So it was a 1993 mild. I have an inkling that maybe the Turning Point, the 5 points one would be better. Maybe that's a north-south thing. I don't know, but Hackney. I keep calling them Hackney. It's not. It's 5 points. 5 points do have a tendency to do some kind of old style bitters and milds and stuff. So yeah, really coppery kind of orangey kind of look in the glass, much darker on the screen. I don't even see that. Still plenty of carbonation racing up the glass. Yeah, same. I'm not sure. I mean, mild tends to, I think, refer to the ABV rather than the body of the beer, but so it could be anything. But yeah, you're right. I always imagine milds to be a bit darker, more porter-like, just a lighter version of a porter. Let's have a little sniff. Well, yeah, you can have a light mild, but this is 5.5%. So I imagine a light mild to be 3 to 4%. See, last year when I did those 5 boxcar milds, there was a 0.5 and a 2.5% version as well, which is interesting to go through. I won't go and play that video again, but I will link it up here in the afters. So 5 different milds from light to what was it, dark, extra dark, I think was the 9%, I think. Oh, right, the 5% out of 5 points was cask only. Okay. I'm sure I saw something about it in cans, but maybe not. Must have misread that. Ruby mild, light mild, and of course dark mild, various ABVs, mild flavors. Yeah. I'm really not sure on the aroma on that. There's something like I can't quite place. It's a good aroma. It's like I don't know. I've just seen the color. I suppose I want to say like some kind of ginger beer type note with a bit of maltiness. Really odd. Head development sticking around. Nice and kind of creamy, foamy kind of head on that. Again, not sure I've put it in necessarily the right glass, but for 440 cans, this is my preferred glass shape. So I might try the dimple mug. Yeah, there is golden milds as well, isn't there? I must have seen a golden mild, so I must have seen something like that somewhere back in the day from across the Pennines. Right, let's try and see if this will soothe my throat any. It's not sore. It remains of last week's cough. Struggling to clear it, but that's better. All right, anyway, cheers. Well, sorry for the look of complete confusion on my face. I don't know what that is. With that kind of carbonation, again, I've gone down that kind. It's not ginger beer, but it's something like that. Kind of odd. I don't really know what that is. It's a sort of earthy, but not like spiky, earthy, great for anything. But it's like a kind of earthy feel to it with a little bit of kind of really light woody kind of tannin kind of note to it. I may be not describing that too good because I don't really know what it is, but yeah, it's very similar to a sort of note we had a beer we did last year for the Union Beer Festival. We had oak leaves and oak blocks in it. Come out with that kind of tanniny tree woody bitterness rather than a hop bitterness, and that's sort of what I'm picking up. And it's a kind of, it's not quite, it's what I always imagine. I said it before about beers like Wetherspoons, and you get a kind of coppery note, a 2p note. That's not what I'm talking about, but that's what I think that coppery note is meant to be, not actual 2ps. That kind of sort of not quite metallic, but kind of tanniny, kind of coppery bitterness. It's really light in the body, which is fine. You've got that kind of carbonation there. It feels like it's pretty well conditioned as beer goes, but it's that odd, really odd. I'm not even sure it is coppery, tanniny bitterness. I don't get it. It's not bad. It's like, it's almost like not like a beer I've ever tasted before in flavour terms. It is so very, very light, but there is a bit of flavour there, but it's a bit like, I don't know, it's like I was saying about that white stout the other day, there was a kind of Tizer type, iron brew type feel, and that's in much lighter quantities. That's what that kind of odd back end flavour, it's not like off or really bad. It's just a bit odd, and I don't get it, and the best I can come up with is kind of iron brew type original Lucasade, like good sweetness to it. But yeah, so I don't quite know where this fits between a light mild or golden mild, or it's really, really strange. I like colour. Yeah, it's a very, very light colouring for a mild. Well, Mr. B, thanks for popping in. A sad day for British beer. Martin Cornell has passed away. Fantastic beer writer, blogger, and beer historian. May you rest in peace. I'm not particularly familiar with his work, although I do know the name from beer history kind of thing. So, sad news indeed. Okay, I thought it was just me. I must have read some stuff a long, long time ago through Camra, probably. But yeah, as always, a sad loss. Anybody else got a beer on? Mr. Wilson's enjoying Ralph's Brown Ale. That was that's the Rob's home brew, isn't it? I guess. My 5 points definitely cask only, fair play. 3.3, that's probably why I couldn't find it. I had a bit of a job finding miles for this one. I had this one anyway because I got it in the other week when I got the custard beers. And then only last week did I actually really see any other miles about the place and pick the other two up. So it's sort of been a bit of a difficult job putting this one together. The hops are strange on this one, and that'll maybe account for the strange kind of taste. I imagine it to be. I don't know. I want to say Fuggles and Goldings, but there's nothing massively hoppy about it. Like I say, there's a kind of sort of back end tanniny bitterness. It's not a hoppy bitterness. It's not very bitter at all, though. Let's have a look then, see what hops. I mean, I can't pick out anything particular. Points make prize ales. 1 of 2 miles brewed in collaboration with 5 points. This XXXMild is based on a recipe from Rose's Brewery in Malton, North Yorkshire. Malton's home of Rascal, of course, and Yorkshire pudding beer. where each aspect has been faithfully adapted with modern brewing ingredients, using Chevalier malt as a base alongside crystal malt and caramel, hopped with Bramling Cross, Fuggles, and Hallertau Mittelfrüh. Yeah, that is unusually, I guess. Although I generally like Hallertau Mittelfrüh, they can sometimes be a kind of slightly out there hop note in generally more German style beers. It does actually give caramel as an ingredient, so rather than not caramel malt, so crystal malt and Chevalier. Chevalier is the heritage kind of malt. But actually lists caramel as well. Yeah, that is a slightly unusual one. Say I'm generally a fan of Hallertau in various variants. Yeah, I mean, I went with Fuggles because it was like kind of. I don't know enough about hops to pick Fuggles out, but that's what I was guessing. Yeah, Hallertau Mittelfrüh in a British mild. Oh, perish the thought. Even knowing that those three, I can't pick particularly much out of the hop lineup for that. It's just a kind of mild bitterness. It's a little bit of fruitiness. Maybe there's some kind of plum kind of notes, sort of some date kind of stuff going on there. But the addition of caramel, I think, kind of gives it that sweetness, but also gives it that kind of, I don't want to say coppery edge because that's wrong, but it's a really odd flavour, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure I like it. I don't doubt it's good and meant to be there and stuff, but yeah. It's quite fizzy, but like I say, conditioning on that. Medium amounts of lacing sticking to the glass. Yeah, I think I can see that Hallertau. It's kind of a little fruity burst going on. But yeah, I'm still getting kind of back end of original Lucozade. Maybe that's just because of the colour. It's very reminiscent on behind the light. Yeah, I guess they do say that. I guess mostly because Bramling Cross are in beers that I find a bit too earthy hoppiness. I never really get dark fruits, but maybe that's kind of what it's going, complementing the caramel and a little bit of fruity burst. It's quite carbonated. It might be natural carbonation, I don't know, but yeah, really odd one. Again, I mean, definitely isn't porter-esque. It's slightly somewhere between golden ale and a sort of almost best bitter type quality. I wouldn't even say the flavour is mild. The flavour's quite sort of pronounced. I just don't really know what it is, especially with those kind of fruit bursts in there. Yeah, I mean, it's 5.5%, so it's not really low ABV. It's kind of mid-range, but it is really drinkable. And you want to go back for more, I find them kind of caramelly. Oh, I know what it is. There's a little bit of, I said this yesterday, didn't I? There's a little bit of kind of slightly condensed milk, kind of, not sourness, but not bitterness. I don't like condensed milk generally because there's that little bit of sour quality to it. I'm not talking about sour here, but there's that little tinge of condensed milk. For me, rumbling around with that kind of toffee and caramel kind of note. Yeah, a really odd one, not bad, just really kind of odd. But I'm smashing it down. It's first beer, but generally quite smooth, fairly sweet, little bit of roughness around the edge, a little bit of brown sugar roughness creeps in there around the edges. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's because it's that heritage kind of malt. It's not really like any kind of mild that I would call really. I haven't lined up the other mild. So the other milds I did last year were a couple from Manchester, a couple of bottled milds, and they were generally quite dark mild-esque, I think. Let's have a look. It was the marble mild I did last year, alongside another Manchester one, Brightside, and one from down here. What's that brewery called? Paradigm, of course. Yeah, Paradigm Brewery in Hertfordshire, now defunct brewery. I remember kind of enjoying those ones. I don't know if anybody remembers that stream. That was the new live show, part 9. Part 9. 80, 70 odd shows ago. This time last year. Well, just beforehand. And then part 4 was the boxcar series, the 5 boxcar series, some of which were a couple of years old, but still stood up, I believe, fairly well. And I was back on the Chilean Red Ale, the Chilean beers. He done one last week on the stream. That was a little bit of a gusher, so managed to keep that one in the bottle. Red Ale was another one I should really look into. I'm sure I'll enjoy them more, but you don't see them too much. Just another kernel order. I've been really good this week. I haven't eyed up any, and it's only Monday. I haven't looked at getting any beers in yet. I hope to not get any beers in this week, because I really want to bash the stash. I need to get through. After yesterday's stream, there was a little bit of space developed on the beer shelf, but there are 2 other beer shelves to go, and yeah, that little bit of beer shelf will easily get filled up by all the stuff underneath. Do you remember I used to put the camera in the beer shelf, and in the beer stash, and show you what everything I had? But I haven't done that for a while. I should get onto that again. Yes, there's a lot in there, so I'm going to try not to order any more beers this week, unless I see a disco beer. I might do some actually ordering. If I manage not to order any beers this week, I'll probably do some orders next week. I want to get those. The beers from the craft brewery in Sussex that Hopper was going on about, because he got his own beers with his name on there, and I can get the disco beers in from that. Then I can do the next disco day, and I can do disco day a cider edition as well. It'll just be a pale ale and a bang average cider, but these things amuse me, so I think I'm gonna do that next week. Try and get it out before July. Still got the last 3 to bloody edit and put up, so hopefully try and do that this month as well. Very pleasant, quite drinkable, but also really, really odd. With slightly hop odd lineup. That addition of caramel and that kind of somewhere between Iron Brew Tizer, original Lucasade with a hint of condensed milk, which is a really weird write-up. I'm gonna have to think about that tomorrow, or the day after, when I actually do the write-up on Instagram. If you follow us on Instagram, if you're not following us on Instagram, go and give us a click over there, because we're nearly on 1,000 there as well. We're on 955 at the minute. It's just numbers, but it'd be kind of interesting. And also, if you're watching this one without subscribing and liking, do us a favour. It's free and all that. I very rarely ask for that, normally at the end, but it just occurred to me. Anyway, I'm going to knock this one back. Not because I don't like it. I found it odd and I want to get through it. Cheers. Yeah, it's really weird. It's kind of, I'm not really sure about that. but there's lots of interesting notes to pick up on. So, Heritage Mild from Turning Point in collaboration with 5 Points from Hackney. Received a box from Buxton today, 5 sets of their latest hop heats. Oh, yes, the experimental hops. Buxton Brewery I really want to like, but I find it really difficult. Although I had a couple of beers from them this year off the supermarket, they're actually quite good. Especially as one was a double IPA. Let us, before my voice dies entirely, move swiftly on to beer number 2, please. Beer number 2, I am staying in Yorkshire. I'm going down the ABV and getting darker. It is Abbeydale's Brewery in their Restoration series, so maybe some more heritage type of stuff in this one. It is a mere 4%, but it's a dark mild, so I'm going to stick with a favoured pint glass for this one. Pick this one up. Bit of a rush job. Made a quick order in last Thursday at Trembling Madness, knowing with fair certainty that it would arrive on Friday, and indeed it did. Too late to get this review out in May. Really, once again, thin Coca-Cola-like on the pour, but really good, smooth, bubbly head development going on. Once again, it's quite, for a dark mild, it's definitely darker and slightly hazier than the Turning Point one, but it looks really dark on screen. I can still see a fair bit of carb racing up there. So from behind the light, it's definitely more toffee coloured than the coppery colour of the previous one. But it's there or thereabouts. Well carbed, lots of bubbles racing up the glass. Cool, man. Superb. Just spotted 1895. Okay, yeah. I found it really odd. I'm not sure about some of the flavours in there any more than some of the hops, but yeah, interesting. I enjoyed it, kind of. It was drinkable, but I'm not sure about it. Yeah, hopefully Mr. Wilson popping up to see us. Let's do the photograph. Yeah, big bubbly head development on that. Looks to be sticking around. Let's just top that up a little bit. And do the photograph whilst we're here. Where's the camera gone? Wasn't expecting to have to put the screen down on this one for the reflections, but probably slightly easier to photo Abbeydale because that matte kind of has got a rough kind of matte finish on the can, like that, rough style, not well enough focused for my liking, so I'm going to do that one again. Yeah, that's better. That's better indeed. Oh, superb. Just let me show everyone that, yes, indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Shot up 60 subscribers. No, I shot up 200 subscribers when you were on the channel. I actually lost 20. I shot up to 1080 at one point, which amused me because they have 1080p connection. But yeah, then I lost 20. I'm back down to 1060 now, so I have no idea how this works or how it goes or why. Quite pleased to smash through the 1K barrier. I don't quite know what to do with it. I should do some kind of special or something, or I don't know. I'm just going to keep on and crack on. I've got a few lined up, so I think I like the 895 because it's so weird. I'm not a mild drinker usually. I don't drink enough mild. I always used to say it was a preferred style alongside porter and stout for favourites, and I think one of the first beers we ever reviewed on the channel was a black cherry mild from Kissingate, which is kind of what kicked it all off on the channel here. Almost 7 years ago this summer. Oh yeah, definitely put at least 17 on probably. I don't think it helps in the slightest. And I got 4 off of that. I don't look too closely, but it's all good fun, isn't it? The 17 each thing. My voice is fucked. Sorry about this. Right, let's try and smooth that through with a bit more luscious, smooth-looking headed beer. Yeah, so Abbeydale out of Sheffield, a bit more Yorkshire beer. Haven't been to much stuff from Abbeydale. I think back in the 2020, early 2020s, when we was all inside, I was ordering quite a lot, mainly through Trembling Madness. I never got an order out of them direct. But I always they always had an intriguing bunch of beers. It wasn't all just kind of hoppy pale. So I liked what they did. Their stouts were pretty good. So I haven't had an Abbeydale for a while. For no particularly good reason. Just haven't crossed my path particularly. But some good stuff coming out of Sheffield. Yeah, right. So let's see what we can sniff on this one. Is a very, very similar aroma actually to the previous one, with just a slightly darker, roastier malt kind of note going on. There's a little bit more, not quite smokiness, but kind of definitely more roastiness on the malt. So let's get this down my neck. Cheers. Ooh. Right up front, definitely a very kind of malty, kind of hits the spot, kind of mild beer, mild ale flavour. All about the malt. There's not much sort of hoppiness or bitterness in this one. But a slight, if I'm honest, there's a slight watery edge to it. Spring water, quality spring water, mind. But yeah, at 4%, there's a little bit of kind of lightness around the edges for me. It's got a stronger kind of body feel to it than the previous one in a way. Not quite stronger flavours. It's all about the malt, but it is really, really light. And again, I hesitate to say too carbonated because I'm not enough of a mild drinker to know how carbonated they should be. I imagine them to be not that carbonated, really. Easy drinking and perfectly well balanced, but there's that lightness that, again, it's easy to pick out in your lighter 3 and 4% beers. But it is also easy on a 4% beer to get plenty of body into it. And for me, yeah, sort of kind of dark lager territory almost, really, with that kind of lightness of body and carbonation. Yeah. I like my favourite is Triple F Press Art. Yes, I've heard about that beer. We've talked about it before, and I've never got around to seeing it. I've had that. I've definitely had a pint of that at Ealing because I started following Triple F, and I'm sure Press Rat and Warhol was the beer. Yes, I must have a review of that up on there somewhere. If it was the first day, that name just drew me to it. Press Rat and Warthog. It sounds a bit more like a cider, to be fair, but yeah, Triple F. I have had that beer, I think. I mean, like I say, I found it a bit. I don't know whether. I think, like in previous years, prior to last year, I probably saw a bit more about Mild in me, having followed Camra, entered their competitions and gone to their beer festivals. But and I believe I said this last year. I was watching back on a couple of streams briefly just to get some info. And I said, since being busted off Twitter, and I haven't bothered going back onto Twitter that much for beer, and get most of my info now from Instagram and slightly from here as well, I suppose. But yeah, haven't seen anything much from Camra, so I don't know how much they pushed mild in May this year. Let me know if you did see anything from them. I know, obviously, like I said, the other day, Slurpy Dave had a couple of really decent milds over on the Isle of Man the other day. No, in Manchester. He wasn't on the Isle of Man in his video the other day. If you're not sure, we'll link to that one up there later on if I remember. But yeah, really interesting video around Manchester and a couple of milds that really looked the part. But then so do these two. They're good head development and interesting colour. Say these are kind of coppery toffee coloured than dark. That is definitely darker than the previous one. But yeah, I found the first one easier to drink, even slightly higher ABV. I think this one I'm struggling with 4%, sub 4% and 4% beers because just that lightness of edge, really. It's a bit like a really average cola with less flavour, certainly less sweetness. This one is actually less sweet, with the addition of caramel in the Turning Point 5 points one. Turning Point and 5 points. Points to a good bit. Yeah, points make prizes. And this one I find oddly a bit cloying. There's a little bit more tanninery, tannin-like bitterness to it, kind of woody kind of bitterness, oak kind of bitterness. Sort of thing if you found it in a wooden barrel at SIPIW. I'll probably complement those kind of tanniny flavours slightly. Oh, it's a ghost. Maybe I'll focus on that. You see the ghost? See the ghost in the lacing? These things amuse me. Just about there. There he is. Yeah, these things amuse me. Maybe I didn't. Oh, right, on miles. Yeah, you didn't see anything much. No, they didn't. I don't know. I would have thought it would have come up even on Instagram. Maybe don't see that much Camra stuff. But yeah, because I'm not really on. I don't really look on Twitter that much. On a personal account, I didn't really see about anything pushing it. Didn't even see. You'd have thought there might be some more in Wetherspoons and stuff like that. But obviously, my pub visits are few and far between at the moment, especially with a void of decent pubs around here to go to that would probably put mild on. So I probably wouldn't probably wouldn't see it that much around here anyway, to be fair. Most of my stuff is online on social media, so I just didn't see that much of it. Need to brew a mild more often? Yeah, why not? Why not? A big, dark, strong mild, 9% mild. They do exist. Apparently, milds used to be much stronger back in the day, much closer to like porter strength. And then, yeah, I think for whatever reason, the industry took a bit of a turn and say, well, let's mild it down a bit, make it more mild, and reduce the ABV. Yeah, an imperial mild. What absolute paradox. But yeah, I had one. Was that? I'm sure that Boxcar one last year was 8% imperial mild. Yeah, absolute paradox, but really nice beer. Going much closer to kind of porter in it, really. I'm sort of not fussed. It's a great beer. Head development staying around. Medium kind of lacing on the glass. Shows a bit of good conditioning to the beer. And can, talking about the can, let's have a look, see what we can see. It's a bit darker on the, oh no, it's okay. Kind of pinkish red writing on brown, which is difficult, but I can see it, it's all right. Modern interpretations of classic and historical beer styles. The Restoration series takes the traditional and brings it back with a contemporary twist. It took us a decade until we finally made one of these last year, but due to rather more than mild enthusiasm, it's back in record time. Like it. Expect smooth, balanced malt sweetness. There is, but not a lot. A little touch of roast character, definitely, and hints of coffee. Yeah, maybe. I think there is a little small amount of coffee kind of bitterness going through there. The ultimate classic British hop, Fuggles. I'm not a massive fan of Fuggles, but there you go. Provides a gentle bitterness. I think my memory's a bit cloudy because I don't remember liking Fuggles beers that much. Timeless and tasty. Yeah, it has a certain amount of tastiness to it. I'm sort of I'm intrigued by it. Only 4%. It's got the lightness, but I think it hasn't quite got the character, the character strength. Like I say, there's a bit of weak and watiness on the back end. Evening, Simo. How you doing, sir? Having a good start to the week. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm going light tonight after yesterday's ridiculous stout shenanigans and spirits and shots and stuff. Check that one out. I didn't get as mad as I thought it might, but with those shots, were interesting. Government restrictions, yeah. I remember reading up about that. There's some having to go lower on the ABV. Sarah Hughes, mild, yeah. Had that many times, way back in the day, not recently. There's another one from Ilkley that I remember having. Been a long old day. I've been alright. It's not really been a long old day for me. I've not actually done a lot today. It's my day off, so I was out and about though. Done some social media admin and stuff. Been looking forward to these beers. They are less hitting the mark than I imagined or wished for. This one, again, it's a good beer. I'm just not sure about that lightness, really. Definitely good roasty notes. I'm not a big fan of cold coffee unless it's in beer. And this one, yes, there's that kind of roasty maltness and a little bit of coffee going on. So it's not my favorite, but I want to like it. It has got a good kind of roastiness. There is a little bit of toffee going on in there as well, I think. They very briefly did Sarah Hughes in 330ml bottles. Why? I wish they would do it again. So hard to find it on cask, but always a treat. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen Sarah Hughes say about it so much in Beer Festival. I'm sure it always used to be Ealing. Maybe back in the day, buddy. Thanks for popping in. Are you still walking in the woods, or are you back home now? I did briefly check into that stream earlier. It looks fabulous where you were. I tell you what, I nearly made a comment. I wasn't sure if you're reading comments, but it was it looked very much like walking through my local woods. There was very similar tree lines going on, and it looked like a great day out. Plenty of birdsong and communion with nature. It looked a good day out. Hope you had a good walk. Yeah, superb. Great day in the woods. Nice one. Look good. I should do some streams like that, I think. Walking to the pub. I have to walk quite far to find a pub I want to walk to, weirdly. Meant to do one on a bike in May. That was another thing for May. Cycling in May, cycling to the pub. I'll try that again in June. It'll have to be video, but I could do some lives if I can get the cameras sorted. As always, I keep meaning to do these things and never get them to fruition. Which is why I'm so keen to do all these streams, because these are things I can actually ideate and get across and get done. You just turn the camera on and go live and talk about the beer. Simple. Well, it's harder than that, to be fair. Especially with my voice today. My voice is Boloxed today. These beers aren't quite smooth enough to satiate a slightly dodgy throat. It's not sore. It's just, yeah. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I don't dislike that. It's just, again, not quite. Yeah, the 4%. I want something more even at 4%. I want it to be stronger, more characterful body. I want that maltiness there. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like used now to kind of strong, oaty, smooth-bodied beers. Bit pale or dark. I don't know. Yes, it is a little bit choppy. But no, I'm not. I don't know any Whitney Houston songs. Not well anyway. Yeah, my voice is all over the shop. It was fine earlier, and then as soon as I pressed live, it just went all over the place. I don't know. Right, well, I got 3 beers, so let's get through on to the next one, and then we can all take a rest from listening to me warble on. Yeah, cheers. That was Abbeydale Brewery's Dark Mild, 4% in their Restoration series. Yeah, an interesting beer. Not quite strong enough in character, flavour for me. It had all the right notes there. It was a really good beer, well conditioned, looked good in the glass. A little bit lighter colour. But yeah, an interesting note, I think. And I like what all the breweries so far do, to be fair. So let us move swiftly and mercifully along to beer number 3, please. So you can tell these aren't recorded because my voice is just a choppy on that one. Right, so a big 500ml bottle to finish. And something a bit different, I guess, and a bit interesting. A fruited mild. A cherry mild from Badger Brewery down in Dorset. Hall and Woodhouse. Still at 4%, so I'm a little worried about this one being 4%. But as I said, the first review we ever really did on this channel back 7 years ago almost now was a cherry mild. It was a dark cherry mild. I suspect this one will be a more sour cherry mild, but I'm prepared to give it a go. Where's my bottle opener? There it is. Yeah, so Badger. A bunch of supermarket staples from Badger. Hit and miss. Sometimes some people say there's a bit of a divider. I like them generally. A couple of their beers. They don't ever hit my favourite beer list, but a couple of beers that I've been drinking since back in the day, they're still going. So I like the brewery. I like what they do. This one, as far as I know, is new out in supermarkets. I picked this one up in Tesco's, but it's also in Waitrose. I'm going to go with the dimple mug for this one because I tend to do that with 500ml. Kind of more traditional kind of breweries, which I think Badger kind of has to be said is. Although they've been doing pretty well, and they have gone into the more craft end, gone into 330 cans in supermarkets. Again, quite light. There's a red tinge to it, I think. But really bubbly, good head development. Looks pretty good in the dimple glass, to be fair. There's a kind of definite red tinge of those, again, darker on the screen. As dark brownness, and kind of, yeah, slight red coppery tinge to it. Let's see if that head sticks around, but let's get the camera on it. First of all, pretty early. As a throw a reminder, thinking yours. I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to do it that way. Don't know why. Just why not? Again, slightly annoying label on that bottle that kind of curves around and makes it difficult to photograph. But we're going to give it a go, and especially About 500ml bottles is the height on the photo. Makes it kind of difficult. The lighting is not great today. Have I nailed that? Yeah, it's not too bad. Gonna go one more. Well, it's called Red Rascal. Got a fox on the label. Wily old fox. No idea how much you can see in the focus, but oh, that's awful. Terrible. Red label is really difficult to pick out, especially my camera doesn't work that amazingly in the darkness. For sake. Anyway, and I'm too picky, but anyway, after all that, I'll come back to a beer that's still there or thereabouts. Still got that head development. Still looks good. Annoying there's a Hall and Woodhouse pub near Harry, but we always go for food on the day. Oh, right. Okay, they get that fun. Yeah, I suppose, because it's only next county along, isn't it? Yeah. Love the new artwork. They pick these characters out, and it's kind of good. It's quite simple. Like I say, I'm not sure about that bottle. It wraps around the curves and makes it harder to actually photograph. But yeah, looks good. Quite good in the dimple mug. Darker on the camera than behind here. There's still a slight opaqueness to it, but it's a kind of much more reddy, coppery coloured brown on there. Let's get into it then. I'm expecting good things. Yeah. Definitely very red kind of cherry note. Bear with me a second. Yeah, big cherry, kind of fruity kind of note. Lager logs, things popping in, guys. I've seen a lot of these beers in a co-op. Yeah, so the brewery itself is called Hall and Woodhouse, but they put beers up under Badger Brewery. They're from Dorset. So I don't know how far north they actually get, but I guess with national distribution in co-ops and stuff, they can get all over the place. Heavily feature kind of animals and kind of characters on the labels. If you see Cranbourne Poacher, that's one that's a personal favourite, a kind of almost a plum porter-esque kind of fruity, fairly sweet, slightly spicy kind of fruity ale. You got them up there as well? Yeah, so they have got national distro. I see them in Waitrose a lot. I picked this one up in Tesco. Tesco has several of their, including Cranbourne Poacher. I don't tend to try, I can't remember what the IPA is. But yeah, the fruity stuff is definitely worth a look. That's far north as air, so fair play. Yeah, worth a look. Again, fairly sort of more traditional kind of outlook. Although you do get them in cans, they're kind of craft range in 440 cans, also in a lot of supermarket. Outland is the brand there. They're much more straight kind of IPAs and sort of fruitier pale beers generally. Again, really clear kind of branding with the Outland with colours on them. So you're getting the same. I don't know. I imagine Hall and Woodhouse Woodhouse own some other brands or breweries as well. I'm not sure. I've only ever really known them from Badger. But yeah, Badger Brewery, owned by Hall and Woodhouse down in Dorset. Endorse it? Yes, I recommend them highly. Of course I endorse it. Literally do that joke every bloody time, but it's funny. I like it. It's one of my favourites. It's not mine, but I stole it. But yeah. So great cherry aroma going on. No massive suggestion of like tart or sour cherries. Definitely kind of straight red, just about fruity cherries rather than sour. But let's have a look, see on the taste. Cheers all. Enjoy the beers. Let's have a go. Here's the thing. I've got a couple of cherry trees in the garden, and I didn't plant them. They just kind of grew there. I'm guessing some bird has distributed some cherry stone or whatever. And they grew. And I've left them because I really like the idea of having cherries in the summer. They're fruiting about now. And I picked one off as I came in earlier. I picked one off. It was the reddest one I could see. So they're in various stages of ripeness. And I had the same last year, and I ate it. And the fleshy bit was okay. But the kind of cherry skin had this kind of tanniny bitterness that wasn't great. So what I'm getting off of that beer is also that exactly the same tanniny bitterness of cherry skins that I don't know, maybe that's what certain cherries do taste like. But the ones in my garden, they ain't that nice. I had a few last year and I'm like, I'm probably just going to cut them trees down, Never got around to it. So I'll see what the cherries do again this year, but it's exactly the same taste as this beer. Smooth enough as a beer, but on the outer edges, I always describe it as the edges because you get that smoothness in the middle. And then there's that kind of bittery. And again, I say that tanniny bitterness, like I say, from the oak leaves and that beer last year, but that was in a good way. This is less so, or at least for my palate. Let's go again. It's still only 4%, and yeah, it's got probably more body, slightly smoother than the Abbeydale, but then it's a much less, only slight sort of watery edge to that 4%. But there is a cherry fruit note there. It's not particularly sweet. It's just got that sort of bitteriness that I don't quite get. And I usually describe it as a kind of a brown sugar roughness. Like licking a spoonful of sugar, you get that roughness on your tongue. And should you go around licking sugar very often? I mean, I don't, but it's just how I imagine it. Do you know what I mean? And so this has got that kind of rough edge to it. It's not unpleasant, but I don't want to go through much of it. Once you get past the smooth maltiness of what is actually, look, it's a really good looking beer. The head retention is brilliant. It's stayed. I should imagine there'll be a bit of lacing. Lacing's falling away a little bit there, but reasonably well conditioned then, I guess. Smoothness in the middle, and then that kind of rough, tanniny bitterness on the outer edge that it's not unpleasant, but it's less than 100% pleasant, if you know what I mean. It's like I want dark cherry sweetness. I want black cherry fruitiness, and what I'm getting is red cherry tanniny bitterness off the tree in my back garden. And I want the cherries to be better. I want them to sing more. So yeah, it's not unpleasant. A little bit of sweetness more coming through there now after that tanniny bitterness. It's just a bit rough. Just a bit rough around the edges. I'm sort of going to struggle through that one a little bit, I think. That said, like I say, I quite like Badger beers for all their kind of. And I came from drinking traditional beers like Badger, you know, as much as I probably now drink more craft beer, and I hate the term any more than I hate real ale as a term, but it's just beer to me. But there is a slight, clear distinction. You know, if a craft brewery made this, you'd be like, I think craft breweries are making this kind of stuff, obviously. So that's kind of bullshit, really. It's not. I know what I mean to say, but yeah. It's weird because I so want to like it, and I don't dislike it, but I'm not. I can't really wholeheartedly go, oh, this is brilliant from a brewery I really like. This Badger is anything but black and white, characterful brews, colourful tales. So, Red Rascal, it says, sneaking through the fading light and growing shadows, a flash of red is all that might give this rascal away as he pilfers ripe red cherries from the orchard. Good story, good old yarn. Forever on the quest for new flavours, this cunning hunter, say that carefully with your dodgy throat, Disco, this cunning hunter always knows where to find the juiciest morsels. Roasted malt and rich caramel notes unite with balanced bitterness for a satisfying mouthfeel that forms the perfect backdrop for juicy, fresh cherry notes. Complex and bold, just like the enigmatic fox himself. Well, I can see what they're going for. It's a good tale and a good yarn. I'm not personally totally in agreement with those statements. Just looking, see what it says. Yeah. The top line, before it even gets to ingredients, says beer with natural flavourings. It's one of those oxymorons. You don't need to say natural flavourings. You should imagine that flavourings are natural, unless you say it's unnatural, chemical flavourings. If you've just put cherries in it, just say you've put cherries in it, not flavouring. The flavour comes from the cherries. Or have you put flavourings produced from natural, I don't know, natural products? I'm always a little bit sus with that statement. Natural flavourings. Tell us what the natural flavourings are. Is it cherries? Have you just dumped a bunch of cherries? It feels like they dumped a bunch of cherries, including the stones. And that's where that outer edge bitterness comes from that I always have a little bit of a problem with. Yeah, I can't see anything else informational wise. Mr. Wilson suggests no cherries used in this beer, which I would concur with the use of the natural flavourings. I might concur with that statement. Also, concurs with that kind of rough outer edge. Like I say, it's difficult because it tastes like the cherry I had earlier off the tree that wasn't, for me, that great, that kind of bitterness. It's not. I mean, if you get a good ripe cherry, you've got that fruity note. I prefer black cherries because I think they're fruitier. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, again, it's a supermarket beer. So maybe they have felt the need to use a cheaper flavouring alternative than actually dumping a bunch of cherries in there. Yeah, so I kind of knew or suspected that might be the case, but I was kind of looking forward to it anyway. Yeah, if you want a good cherry mild, go look at Kissing Gate out of Horsham in Sussex. A beer I haven't had, I think, for 7 years, so I have to get back to them. And I've played the video before, so I won't play it again. But yeah, if you do want to go back and check out, I mean, we didn't spend more than 20 seconds talking about it, but it was, yeah, fantastic beer. Kissing Gate's dark cherry, was it black cherry? I think it was dark cherry mild. I think I got it wrong in the video. Yeah, so much better than this one for a cherry mild, for cherry beer. I don't think they use natural flavorings. Yeah, so a slightly inglorious end to a not particularly glorious stream in the first place. I was kind of excited, certainly for the first one, and I felt wasn't as good as I was expecting. It's always bad when you have expectation. You always let yourself down in that way. But yeah, so an interesting and definitely a different look. Bear with me a second. Yeah, definitely an interesting look at some slightly different takes on the style of mild. This one I will finish. It will take me a little bit longer with that kind of slightly rough, a bittery edge. Yeah, cheers, Mr. Wilson, as ever. Catch you next time. Whether I do one tomorrow, I've got one planned for Wednesday, but I've got to get a video out first, so I might do one tomorrow anyway. Or I might do one tomorrow and Wednesday because I've got a lot of beer to get through. But yeah, that was me missing out on mild in May, doing it in June instead. Bit of a struggle to put together because I spent a long time on Thursday cycling round and driving round various supermarkets, thinking that they would have a mild in. And I knew this one was going to be there, so I picked this one up. I thought they might have another one. So then I had to go to Tremblay Madness and pick up the only mild I could see there and any of my usual bottle shops. So, yeah, put together a show. Got 3 beers. Slightly, I mean, not disappointed, less than enthusiastic of all of them. The first 2 were definitely interesting. Let me know if you're watching this after the event. Let me know in the comments below, because I never really get any comments after the event. Brilliant for the people commenting to the side. Whether to the side here, where are they? These people. But yeah, if you're watching after the event, do let me know what milds I should look out for. If you see any others. Also, while you're down there, click the like and subscribe and all that. I've done it twice in a stream. I said I'd only do it once, but whatever. If you are watching after the event, thank you very much indeed. Please like and subscribe. Yeah, we've busted over the 1,000 subs, so I'll keep doing this stuff until somebody tells me to stop. In the meantime, thanks for everybody for tuning in. And yeah, cheers. And enjoy the beers, mild or not, whatever they may be. Cheers. But leave enough to lose control. Oh, bollocks, I never even put the banner up. What a dickhead. Well, there we go. If I'd put the banner up, it would have answered the question. Beer free. Badger Brewery, Hall and Woodhouse. Red Rascal, 4% cherry mild. I've only been doing this for 83 shows. You think I'd know what I was doing by now? There you go. I was just too excited to get for this beer. Right, there we go. Definitely now. Cheers and enjoy the beers.